Morning, guys. I am here at Angelina's Innkeepers place up on Stafford Street. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually a fully run and operated inn right here in Stafford. Before you decide to go to a hotel or motel in the surrounding areas, you may want to consider coming here. Not only is Stafford Street one of the oldest and most historically known streets in Stafford, this place, built in 1778, is full of history, rich in architecture, and we're actually going to go talk to Angelina, who is the owner, along with her husband and family, and not only about the renovations that they've done, but how they have preserved the history right here at this building. Right now, I am in the inn with Angelina. Thanks for having us here today. And she's actually going to take us through and show us, like I said again, not only the renovations they did, but how they preserved the history of the inn. So why don't you take us through and tell us a little bit about it?
Okay. All right. Well, this is the kitchen area. This is where my guests can come in and sit down and view the birds. They love it that we actually tame the birds to come to the window so the guests can enjoy that. We do get a lot of specials that we do for bird watchers.
Wow.
So we draw attractions for that. And this room here was the second kitchen.
Okay.
There was 3 kitchens in the house. This was the kitchen where they would chop and cut and all that good stuff. And then as I take you into the breakfast room, that was the actual kitchen where they actually cooked.
Wow.
But this room had a fire in '67, and so they did a little decorating of it and remodeling. And all these cabinets were done all by hand by a gentleman in town because we wanted to preserve. They wanted to preserve the house as well and do it, you know, the old way.
Right.
This part of the house is the newer part.
Okay.
This was 1778. And then from this room over, which is our living quarters, was a birthing room, and where they would keep the animals and where they would hang the animals for cooking and stuff. And that's 1732 was that side. So that was the older side.
Wow.
And now we're going through the newer side.
Awesome. This is great.
This is what was the kitchen, like I said. It is now a breakfast room. We don't call it a dining room because it doesn't look like a dining room. It looks more like a breakfast room.
Beautiful.
As you notice, the floors, these are wormwood. This has got, the house has got a ton of history. Back when the settlers came, they depleted all the trees in New England. And so to hide the wood from the king, they would bury the wood in water. And then once the king's ships would leave, they would pull the wood up from the water. And they got damaged by wormwood, by the worm. And as you can see, we have wormwood all through here.
Wow. Yep.
And so the wood that was used for flooring was the ones that had the damage the most. Everything else, all the woodwork in the house is all hand-carved butternut that was on the land.
Wow, that's amazing.
When we bought the house, it was a den, and we turned it into our smallest room. So this is a small room.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we called this one the Hyde's room. We named each of our rooms after the history in town.
Wow.
So Jasper Hyde was our owner.
Okay.
And so we wanted to name it Hyde. So this is the Hyde's room.
Okay.
At one time, the road came around. And the door is original to the house. One door would open for a gentleman, 2 doors for a lady, or a coffin, because this was a church.
Wow.
At the beginning, this was a church. We decided to do this room, the decor of this room, for the Civil War, because we have the Grant House down the road.
Okay.
We wanted to honor them as well. And we've had a lot of grants. Here is the gathering room. But this room here was the church room. This was the Second Ecclesiastical Society church in the 1700s.
Okay.
Only men would attend church, and then they would then pass it on to their wife and children. And this was the town at one time, which you know.
Yep.
And so you'll see in one of the bedrooms upstairs in my Lafayette room a certain window. It's called a mullion window.
Yep.
Well, that's symbolic to show that where this was a village, that window would show that this was a house of prayer by the shape of the window.
That's amazing.
On the floor that you see that are exposed, these were all handmade by the blacksmith that used to be on this street, which was actually across the street from us.
No kidding.
Each nail is handmade. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, look at it. My God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, now I'll take you upstairs. This is the mullion window I was speaking of. Now this used to be a powdered blue at one time.
Okay.
But previous owners, the sergeants, they were repairing parts of it, and her husband was doing it, and he dropped the window. And so they replaced it with clear glass. But as you see, if you notice all the church signs, the old church signs in Connecticut,
Yeah,
they're this shape.
that's right.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, that's
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah, the house. And they told us that the architect designer was Mr. Larnard, and his signa was a barreled ceiling, which signified the belly of a ship. Mr. Daydahl, when we first bought the house, I told him I was Italian and Irish.
Yep.
And I told him that I wanted to put something Italian in the house, even though it didn't go with the time. And so he picked out the wallpaper for this room, Mr. Daydahl.
Mr. Daydahl. Many of us know him.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. We have a copy of the memoirs, a book, and which he actually states viewing the Hyde's Tavern. Now the reason for the brick exposed, we had to repair the chimney. When we did that, I took a railroad tie and I chipped away at the old horsehair plaster, and I wanted to show this part. This is the 1700s, and this is, of course, today.
Wow. Can you see that? That's out of this world.
The back area. This was one of the two-room schoolhouses. This was a schoolroom, but in it, you know, we've had some celebrities staying here, and they love the tub. Love the tub. It has a handheld shower, so it serves two purposes.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
But yeah, we've had, of course, we know the Red Sox stay here all the time.
Didn't know
So
that.
yeah. So Bill Lee, he's over 6'5". He absolutely loves the tub.
Yep.
Yep.
Which
yep.
he's actually going to be coming to the Legends Night.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the Parity So
Yep.
Insurance and Bosco Fowler are putting on for the Little League, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. So we've had all the players staying here: George Foster, Louis Tiante, Bill Lee, Oil Can Boyd. All of them love to tub.
And you're a Red Sox fan?
I'm a Red Sox fan.
Beautiful.
Here are shaped of an acorn,
Yeah.
and this is what Sturbridge Village told us. This is how we knew it was a federal home. Colonial homes had the pineapples.
Wow.
We have the acorn.
And you wouldn't think anything of looking at it. You wouldn't.
Right.
The normal person wouldn't say, "Oh, okay."
Right,
But that's
right.
that's very neat to know.
Yeah.
So much for
You're
bringing
welcome.
it. And for any more information that you would like on the inn, you can go to your website, and your website's
Angelinas and KeepersPlace.com.
.com. Definitely go there, check it out. This is amazing. 111 Stafford Street here in Stafford Springs. And something that Angelina might not have told you is that Stafford residents, for every night and for every room, gets $10 off. So even if you're a Stafford resident and you really just want to capture some of the history, this is definitely a place to come. Angelina's done a great job, and her family, really for preserving Stafford. And so make sure that you keep this in mind and let everyone know around. I'm Kate from the MyStaffordSprings website. Back to you guys in the studio.